Good afternoon. This is Reverend Joy, and I have something difficult that I'd like to talk to you about. And yes, mostly this is for my boys because although they're young adults now, but they are actually ready to date, I probably won't be here. And I want them to know basically what the red flags are. That when these happen, whether it is a friendship, dating, or even a marriage, it's time to consider getting help. And yes, try to leave because there is very little that is going to be positive if you are in a position where you're not going to be on the receiving end of divine love, kindness. All those things are free, but we live in a world that wants to be as harsh as possible sometimes instead of kind, gentle, nurturing. So for my sons, I want you to know and understand relationships are going to be hard for you, but there are resources. You must read on toxic relationships. Know when those happen and make sure that you sever ties before it becomes a permanent toxic relationship. And I'm not going to tell you that if I had a time machine, I could go back and change anything because there are things that would change if I did. So if it happens to you, have no regrets, but move on. The first article I found is aimed at men. 14 red flags to look out for in a relationship. And yes, you'll know this when you start dating. And if you don't find the truth out until you're married, get help. Get help quickly. Feel that you are worthy of love and that you are worthy of good things in life because that's truly what it takes to be successful. You must have self love before anyone else can love you. That's things that happen on the inside. And there is nothing at all you can do to make someone like you, respect you, or love you. That doesn't work. Anyway, the article here, the link will appear below. One red flag, she claimed drama queen. And don't be offended, women, if you're listening. I cover men's, and I'll give a link to 50 red flags because there are so many signs. If you only pay attention and you do not have strong feelings or strong attachment in your life, you will be you'll be happier because those who do not resonate with you, who do not share your life purpose, who can't agree with what you are as a child of God, let them go. There will be others. And yes, I've spent most of my life alone after leaving the twins' dad, your dad. That was 2004, and I haven't seen or talked to him since. And it is because I see the red flags. I made mistakes because I got attached, but never make that mistake. Don't roll out the carpet and allow people to hurt you. So, yes, drama queen, it's someone that loves to stir up controversy. They always want an emotional high. They get easily upset. The second on this list, you can't stand any of her friends. Well, if that's the case, they probably don't like you either. So that won't be a good long term relationship. You want to have friends that you have in common so that there's less distance. Number three, she says all her exes are jerks. Well, just like if you go on a job interview, if you say all your bosses were jerks, you wouldn't get hired because people repeat the same scripts and the same life story wherever they go. So don't engage. Four, she's a flake, meaning forgetful. They kind of don't do what they say. They can't keep promises. Five on this list, she treats waiters like crap. Yeah, if anyone feels that those below them aren't worth much, they don't have that little essence of Christ in them, in their soul. Skip. Six, she expects to be treated like a princess. Well, that entitlement can kind of be bad. That is a sign of, well, she'll get angry and resent you because if you fail to do so on one thing or not, excuse the cat in the background, you it will be futile. It will be frustrating for you. Relationships are hard. Be like water. Find the path. You argue but all the time there is a problem. The ratio of positive to negative interaction should be 5 to 1. So, yes, if you're arguing all the time, you're going to be miserable. And if things are bad in the beginning, they may stay bad. And yeah, that doesn't count the honeymoon period of the first couple years that you're a couple, when you're getting to know each other and everyone's on their best behavior. Look at what happens beyond that. 8, she gets angry or guilt you when you want to spend time with your friends. Well, guys and girls, you do need to spend time with people other than your relationship partner. This is also healthy for you and healthy for your relationship too. And your other partner shouldn't go on your all guy or all girl outing. It shows a lack of trust. And that lack of trust is something that never comes back. 9, she never apologizes or takes responsibility for bad behavior. Again, everyone does things they're not proud of. But if they're not willing to take responsibility, apologize, and make things right, that's not who you want for a life partner. If you're anywhere, even on a job, and other people don't take responsibility for their own behavior or blame you, be aware that is something called scapegoating that you will need to escape as well. Never consistently take the blame for bad things. I have, and it has made my life very bad. I am open and honest, and a lot of people exploit that. I confess if I do wrong things because I want to make amends. I do feel in my soul that, well, God has always been there to steer me right, and my life only went wrong when I didn't listen to that inner voice, to God telling me what to do. Number 10 on this list, she has a bad relationship with her family. Again, life patterns and life scripts. If this is happening and they're not making a conscious, dedicated effort to change those patterns of the first relationship, it will not be well. So, yes, if you have distance, if there's distance from you, it could be, for example, there was a lot of distance between me, my brothers, and my parents when my dad was alive. And it had a little bit to do with the not black enough statement that the message I recorded there. It's things that can't be helped. Sometimes people perceive things that you don't intend. It is not going to be your fault. It wasn't my fault that my family misunderstood that I was simply different. I I realized I really did always live in my heart center. I wanted to treat everyone with kindness even when they treated me bad. And that's not a sign of weakness because it's more difficult to love people as they hate you. I, I've spent hours imagining how Christ would feel because although he died on the cross with the Roman soldiers, he also accepted their sin, even though they didn't accept him when he was resurrected. So there is power. There is power in love. So, yes, if you're with a partner that has family issues, that may not be a bad thing. But if you have to go and spend time with that family that she doesn't like and they don't like her and they probably won't like you, run. That's not a good situation. Number 11 on this list, she's not flexible. Again, the best way, the only way to be happy in life is to be flexible. You have to be able to adapt, to change. You must be able because life is about change. There is not going to be growth for your soul if there is never any change. Your careers may change as you advance in college, as you advance in your job. That's the change. Change is good. Change is not bad. You must be prepared to adapt. And yes, you have autism and change will be hard sometimes, but you must embrace change. You've done so much better now than when you were younger, and it's a good thing. 12. You don't share any core values or life goals. Well, that's an essential for a relationship. A relationship that's just based on sex, money, power, those are not the things in life that will last. Number 13 on this list, she's violent. And yeah, this one, if she punches you or hits you, that's not healthy. Even slapping can become and lead to more violence over time. Don't accept that. Men can indeed be domestic violence victims. And yes, I'm someone that, despite my kind nature and the fact that I may yell at people, but I've never actually physically hit them. Only once did I do that with, yes, the twins' dad. That's part of why I left. 14 on this list. She's stingy with appreciation. Again, if you're living in the heart chakra, compliments, kindness, love will come easy. And if your girlfriend doesn't notice and thank you for the nice things you do, that is an emotional abuse. And that is not worth staying for either. And the next one, I found an article on 13 dating red flags for women. And you can kind of guess what they are. But because everything that I just said about men can also be true for women. You just reverse the sexes, and those are still true. Some are very obvious, but there's many that no matter what, remember that you are a divine, beloved child of loving heavenly parents. No matter what kind of family you have on earth, you must recognize that and realize that you are worth your body weight in gold and act accordingly, no matter who you are, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're cross gender, anything. You are worth your weight in gold in your spiritual. There is no one that can replace you. There is no one that can be you. It is not worth being with the wrong person because that prevents the right person from finding you. And it is harder to be alone. And I don't know how I found the strength to be chaste, but if I can do it, because that's the myth about Scorpios like me, is that we are ultra sex symbols, but it's a choice. Everything in life is a choice. You do not have to conform with any stereotype. You do not have to fit an image that anyone else has for you. You must be your true self, and only God can tell you what that is. So, yes, meditate, balance your chakras, and you'll know what God wants for you. So, to be fair, let me give the list for women. This was on Psychology Today, and yes, the link will be in the notes along with the 50 red flags. Because I'm telling you, do not let a relationship rule your life, because there is no end once that person has become your slave master, your ruler, your dictator. Never give someone that power. Okay, number one for women, he expects you to do all the work. Yes, if they're not willing to invest in the relationship, there's nothing there for you. Are they emotionally invested? How often are they talking to other women? Do they want commitment or marriage or buying a house or having a family? If not, mm, move on, because that's not going to be a permanent thing. Number 3 on this list, can he apologize? Again, recognizing a mistake and wanting to make amends is healthy, but watch out for fake remorse and crocodile tears. But the best apology you can get is, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. That was not my intention. Even hearing a, how can I make it right, is the best thing you want a man to say, because guess what? That's going to be hardest for them. But that is one of the deepest things of commitment you can get. 4 on this list, he's a little too private. Yeah, when you're dating, are they texting other people? Are they failing to share with you things about their family, things about their friends, their work? Well, that's probably not going to work out either. You want to have a common understanding of what makes you both happy. Otherwise, there's nothing there. Number 5 on this list, you feel isolated in your relationship. Yes, you do need other people, same sex, friendships, and a dating partner, marriage partner. You don't want to have a boyfriend or even a girlfriend that isolates you from other people. It's an abuse. It's an abusive relationship if your boyfriend puts you down, treats you poorly, or is constantly disrespectful. And seeing through the rose colored glasses of love, you have to step back, honestly evaluate things. And I can say that in certainty because, yes, I thought I could fix some people in my life, help them, change them. It doesn't happen that way. It never does. Don't spend your energy on that. 6, he never passed. Communication 101. This is important because communication is the main key to any successful relationship. And it's easy when you first start dating because there's flirtation, banter, small talk. But can you talk about more difficult things? How difficult? If you're not able to communicate, you're going to wind up fighting. You're going to wind up being frustrated. You can't, there's some things you'll want to know. And you shouldn't have a partner who makes you feel like you're punished or they're trying to teach you a lesson for wanting to know about their life or wanting to know about the past. Don't agree to be manipulated. Take the green light and move on. Number 7 on this list, he talks down to you. Yeah, bad boys can be attractive, but it's not hyper masculinity. Well, that itself is toxic. It's not healthy for either him or you. That's a green light to move on. Number 8 on this list, The rules change all the time. In fact, what's true, what they say the rule is today, wasn't yesterday, and it won't be the next day. Yes, sadly, women are socialized to be good listeners. We want so much. Well, we want so much for stability that we'll try to stay with someone who isn't necessarily consistent. But you want someone that will be consistent from day to day. And no, that's not actually boring. That is the place where you want to have children. Because if there's no stability, no stable love, there will be hurt and pain. And I can tell you with experience, you don't want someone who, well, they decide to treat you differently from day to day. You want that consistency. 9, his sense of humor is a little too biting. Well, laughter's good, but you don't ever want to have your laughter at the expense of other people. So when a guy makes a joke about a waitress, someone else's weight, looks, education, or any other demographic factor, including race, that may not fare very well because eventually you'll be a source of that laughter too. And everything is not always just a joke. Take it seriously because you want to have shared interests. And someone who is mean to others will eventually be mean to you. 10, he talks constantly about changing you. Yeah, your personality is something that can't be changed. There's an ability for both partners to identify areas for growth, but it should not be hurtful. And there are things about yourself that you can't change. For example, if you don't have, you can't apologize for who you are. If you don't constantly have made up nails, perfect hair, a particular wardrobe they want, that's probably not who you want as a partner. If they ask you to dress a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's not your life partner. That's you need to find someone else. If they want someone who is not softly spoken or affectionate, and they want someone who is, well, a stereotype or opposite of you, don't participate. That's not love. Love must be from the heart chakra, not from anywhere else. Do not accept the control of a man. Women, you are divine representation of a goddess. Because, yes, there's a god and a goddess if we are made in the pattern of our heavenly parents. Do not accept change because there's a ton of other women in the world. If he doesn't like you the way you are, let him find them. Number 11 on the list, he can't risk acting like a fool. Now, it's one thing for a man to be composed and self assured, and they don't have to, but if someone doesn't let loose and ever be comfortable, they're never going to be vulnerable. No one is perfect. If you're with someone and you feel that they must always be perfect and they must always be right, that's conflict that will never resolve. Let go. 12. I like this one. He doesn't value giving back. Now, community service isn't necessarily a priority for all, but if you are involved in service as a couple, you will impact positive change in yourself and the community at large. Service projects is a way to get to know each other and talk without, you bet, the pressure of sex. Make one of your dates that to know what their real intentions are. Do they just want sex? Do they just want, oh, I want a pretty girl on my arm, or I want that specific girl? If they're not willing to be kind to others, they're going to eventually not be kind to you. Why? Change happens. Guess what? Women, we change as we age. We gain weight when we have children. Let go. If they're not willing to help others, they're probably not going to make a sacrifice for you or your children. 13, you don't glow. What does that mean? It means if you don't feel happy, and if you don't feel your heart chakra glowing, shining, giving agape to people around you, that's probably not the right one. And yes, it can be tempting to overlook the red flags because, yes, unfortunately, women are socialized to, if we don't have a man in our lives or a significant others, and yes, that's part of why the Center for Hope is here. Because I want to give women and their children appreciation for who they are. I want them to remember that they are filled with God's grace and it does not need to depend on a man. No man should be in a position of control over your life. You should be on the receiving end of compassion. We live in America in 2019 where compassion is short. There's more pressure on stopping benefits programs that help single mothers since the 1980s, but no programs to help make sure women and men don't become parents and therefore need that until they've had degrees or a way of make meaningful work in a permanent recession without the manufacturing jobs that made America great. So be aware as you're dating. And yes, if you attract only people that bring you red flags, yes, congratulations, you might be a late worker. Those are you because they do need healing. But that doesn't mean that you must give over your life. You don't have to. You what and I than I was. I was happy, well, 2 years out of four with the twins' father. And while he showed up in my city, December 2016, we still haven't talked. And I, in a way, has been told things about me that weren't true. And he supports me, and that God loves me, and God answers my prayers, no matter if other people deny. So that's my relationship story. I don't want you to repeat my relationship story because the bad thing is, especially the twins, even my oldest, you grew up without a father in your presence of seeing love that you could emulate and repeat in your future marriages. Don't do that. Let your children have that security. Show them what they should have. You yourself must commit to being treated the way God would treat you. You should always have that self love, that self respect. Never accept less than what God wants for you. And let me tell you, God wants good for you. There is nothing about you, there is nothing you could ever do that would make you ineligible for God's blessings. Because, we were Christian for quite a majority of the time your father was away. He was Hindu. He, the meaning of Christ, is forgiveness. There's nothing you could do that Christ would not forgive. So you bring that to your self worth. But yes, you stay open in your mind, accept Christ's consciousness rather than a church. Let Christ dwell in you, not in a building, and you will have all guidance you need. Well, I hope again that this will help you, guide you, steer you away from the places where I made mistakes. I made mistakes because I wanted to be liked and loved, and I didn't have to do that. I just needed to be myself. But I want you to know, even after I'm gone, I will always love you. I sacrificed a lot to break patterns so that you could be happy, healthy, and I hope you will be one day. I can see it in my heart at one time, well, holding the twins, holding your father's hand in our 80s while your children or your children's children played around us. And we died holding hands in a rocking chair with children around us, full of love in a house full of love. That's what I want you to think. It didn't happen for me in this life. I'm 48, and my liver, well, I don't know if it'll ever return to being healthy. It shows signs some days, and some days are hard. But you be different than me. Oh, I love you eternally. You are my children. You three boys are the only children I'll probably have. And I want you to be well. And if you're hearing this and you're not my child, I'll adopt you. I love you. So, in peace and love, this has been your metaphysician, Reverend Joy.